What a game! What a game! Oh my God, Scotland are going to the World Cup. I can't believe it. I can't believe we got that group. Right, there's loads to get talking about, so let's get stuck in. This is a No Scotland, No Party podcast supported by Ball Bags, official boxers of the men's national team. Let's go.
We know we ain't no football experts, but we all feel the same about the beautiful game, the game. No Scotland, no party, podcast for the Tartan Army.
Okay, joined by Craig and Dave today. Hazel, unfortunately, is not feeling well. She can't join us. But guys, can you believe it? Believe it?
We've done it! We've done it!
Oh my God. Oh my. I mean, I think that I just want to start today's pod by saying a huge thank you as well. Every single person that's been along for the ride, listening into all of these podcasts through the qualifiers, because every single one of us, you know, the highs and lows of supporting Scotland, I think this has got to be up there with the highest of the highs, and it doesn't get better than this. So for everyone who's been along for the ride, thank you, and yeah, I look forward to getting into yesterday's antics.
Yeah.
What do you think about it, Dave? Can you sum it up for us?
Not really. I mean, I think Craig, you know, so I suppose there can be a debate, but I think it's Scotland's greatest ever game.
Yeah.
Right, as I say. So I think that would be my summary. And, you know, yeah, it was brilliant with Baxter at Wembley in 67. Anfield in 77, which I was at that game. That was probably my top game for watching Scotland. And I've been to lots of World Cup games as well, in Spain and in Mexico and in France. But, you know, I mean, you know, probably my top game that I'd loved the most was the Anfield game until last night. But last night, I think it surpasses them all, right? It really does. And that's not just for me personally, I think for everybody. And I think when, you know, just it's the importance of the game, it's the way we played, it's the way the crowd was, and it's the endless drama. Right, all the way through, including the last kick of the game. You know, it's just everything, right? So red card, penalty, it's got the lot, right? So 3 unbelievable goals. Right, anyway, we'll go on to it all, but that's my summary, Craig. Best Scotland game ever.
I think it's the best Scotland game. Certainly the best one I've ever been to. I mean, before, I would have said maybe beating England at Wembley 1-0, that Hudson goal. I loved that, but we got put out in the playoffs. Seeing Scotland play Brazil in France '98 was amazing, but we lost the game. And you know, a lot of these great games, the Italy game in 2007 was fantastic being there, but again we lost the game. And there's been too many games like that. But for this game to be as crazy as it was, and to win it, and it makes us go to the World Cup, he couldn't have scripted it.
Nah, I agree.
Right, but I reckon we'll have a look at it, because it started nuts before a ball was even kicked. It was nuts. So he'd made 2 changes, and he'd left out Hanley and Adams, which we all kind of said we hope he did, and he did it great. I was hoping he was going to start with Shankland, but I think starting, you know, looking at it now, starting with Dykes was the right idea. No, I'm watching the game at home because I had to get rid of my ticket because I'm on crutches and couldn't get it to the ground. And my phone starts going with all the people I know in the stadium. Goes, why has Hanley just walked onto the pitch?
Aye.
When did you guys find out about Suter's injury?
Only because you and other people told us.
Was it that?
We got messages. At least for me, speaking for me, right? I didn't know until you and a couple other people sent me messages saying Hanley's starting, Suter's been injured in the warm up. It wasn't. Maybe I wasn't paying attention, but it wasn't well announced at the stadium, I thought.
No, definitely not. I was the exact same, and especially with me having a couple of drinks before the game to settle the nerves. It wasn't until basically exactly like you said there, when the teams were walking out, I was like, ooh, that's different. And do you know what? I mean, we'll get into sort of every single individual performance, but I think for the majority of people in the stadium, whether they like to admit it or not, they were maybe a wee bit like that. Oh no, that's maybe maybe not what we'd kind of hope for. But you've got to say, I mean, Hanley was exceptional. He was brilliant last night. Honestly, exceptional, and that's just the thing that you've got to say is, like, when all the pressure is on, and not even just because of the occasion itself, but then having to come on when you weren't maybe expecting to start, and goes out and delivers a performance like that. I mean, you've got to say, fucking hats off to him. Exceptional performance.
Yeah,
So
great.
drama before the game, and then just 3 minutes into the game, Gannon Doak, who everyone's been slagging off for his ability to cross the ball, crosses the ball at McTominay and hits an absolute worldie. I mean, Dave, what was it like in the stadium when that went in?
I mean, just crazy, right? Because
God.
nobody can believe it, right? I mean, it's just unbelievable. I mean, after 3 minutes as well, right? So it's so soon. We're all nervous, just like what Craig said. Everybody's nervous, and we scored within after 3 minutes, and it's just unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I honestly, and however many lifetimes of watching football, I really think you struggle to see goals like that, man. It was just exceptional. And I mean, the way I was sort of sat in the north stand, right down in one of the first rows beside the pitch, and almost seeing McTominay jump higher than where I was sat above. I was like, oh my God. I mean, yeah, words can't describe it. And like we were sort of saying before the recording started, I do not know how many times I have watched that back, but it has got to be in the hundreds already, because goals like that just don't come very often.
No.
And the still image of when he's climbing and he's just about to connect with the ball, exceptional. It's going to go down as one of the most iconic photos in Scotland football history for sure.
Yeah. I mean, but to the point you just made, though, the height that he gets is unbelievable. So I'd say it's going to get a lot of coverage around the world, not just one of the most iconic for Scotland, but just the height. That, I mean, I'm not an expert on the highest ever overhead kick or whatever and all that stuff, but that was unbelievable. I mean, you just look at the height he's got, you know. Anyway, it
just shows you the level he's playing at the moment. That kind of went through his mind, and the way he hit it.
Yeah.
And if you think back to the Greece game, do you remember he hit that shot and it hit off the crossbar?
Aye.
And everyone was saying, "Oh, he should have taken a touch." I think other people that aren't as capable as him might have taken a touch, but he just got so much confidence. He thought I was going to hit this in, and he didn't get away with it that time. But even that goal he scored recently for Napoli, you're thinking, why are you hitting that there first time? But that's just the ability of the guy. He's a different class. I can't wait to see him in the World Cup.
100%. It's honestly, it's exceptional. Like you said, I've seen a lot of things. It's like the cheek, the balls to be able to go like that in the third minute of a game. Like, wow, I'm just going to go for it. I feel like taking it away from the actual goal itself and how unbelievable that obviously was for a second. I don't know about you, Dave, and where you were at in the stadium. It goes without saying, complete carnage in the celebrations, but it was almost, from where I was, it was like shock was just as prevalent as what genuine joy and celebration was. Everyone was just like, what have we just witnessed? I don't know about you, where you were.
It was exactly the same, and I'm in the north stand as well, Craig. But about halfway up, I've seen your pictures where you're right down at the front. We're about halfway up, Rose Ed, and we're right in the middle. We're right almost on the centre line is where we were. So it's a great place to watch the game and everything. But I mean, it was absolute madness with, as you just say, when he scored that. Amazing.
My brother turned up late and missed it.
Oh no!
I know.
No.
That is brilliant. I also just a quick sort of a side note, just to sort of take it back to before a ball was kicked as well. You've got to say the national anthem. I'm sorry, lads. Flower of Scotland, one of the best. One of the best I have ever heard, and probably ever will hear. I think it was exceptional. And I mean, obviously, what else can you really say on that? But I just thought I'd give a shout out for how unbelievable that was.
It was amazing. It really was.
Completely agree. Yeah. It was. I think it was about the best of, again, one of the best anyway that I've ever heard, for sure. It was a real absolute, and you kind of felt at that moment that so long as things didn't go really badly, right, the crowd was absolutely going to play its part, which is what we did. Right, the crowd did. The crowd were really, really good. We've been critical in the past, right, in some of the previous podcasts about the atmosphere in Hampden and whose fault it is and all that. But last night, before we started, even from the anthem onwards, it was noisy. There were songs almost all the time. If there was a wee quiet moment, somebody picked it up again and it went round. And it didn't only start in the usual bits of the North Stand. It was starting all the way around. There was songs starting in the East Stand as well, and so it was just all the way around.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Fantastic.
Without a doubt. Now, I think just to sort of move us on then again onto back onto the actual game itself. Now, I think that one thing that can probably be said for all of us, definitely for myself, is the only downside to scoring an absolute worldie in the 3rd minute is that there is a long, long, long way to go. And I think that the next 40 minutes were definitely nervy. I think Denmark definitely had their chances. It goes without saying, I think Denmark obviously then grew into the game after that, and I think that it was nervy at times, let's be real, and obviously with Doak then coming off injured. What did you make of that? Were you worried?
Well, that was it. That was such a huge moment because Doak was running amok down the right. He was doing so well with so much possession. He was causing them real trouble. And then when he went off, and Christie's a decent enough player, but he's not as good as Doak in that position. And I thought, oh no, here we go. This is just not good. We have scored the early goal. It's going to get them loads of time to get back into it. And Doak looked like he was on a game last night. So yeah, I was gutted for him. I was worried when he came off. I really was.
Yeah, and I agree with that. And I'd say also not that this is a time for us to be critical at all, right? But if I was worried for the whole of the rest of the first half, and actually, beyond that and beyond when Denmark equalised with a penalty, because we were backing off them so much.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing. It's kind of natural, right? I mean, it is natural. Sorry, it is natural that you take the lead, and you start thinking, well, we've got what we need. Play it tighter and all this, but we backed off, and and you saw the amount of space we were giving the Danes to play the ball around and everything. So I'd say we rode our luck a wee bit in terms of Denmark not equalising in the first half, even. But
I've got some stats for you here from the first half.
Go on.
They had 79% possession.
Yeah.
They had 10 shots against our 1 shot, but they had no shots on target, which was unbelievable. And Højlund, I was petrified of him in the second half because I thought there's no way he's going to have all these chances in the second half and not start putting some of these away. So many chances.
And probably worth noting as well, obviously, the chance that he actually, the one chance that he did put in the back of the net, obviously quite quickly getting ruled out. But I think that also just kind of added to the slight nerves of like, oh, okay, right. That kind of just goes to show. And like I say, while it did get disallowed, you still go, okay, there is a finish there if those chances keep falling to him. So no, for sure, I think that it goes without saying that anyone now watching that game was nervous after the sort of 40 minutes that went into the build-up of half-time. And I think there was definitely a sense of, right, let's get to half-time here and take a breather. I remember even the people that I was sat beside, we all went, ooh, right, can we go up the road now? Is that it? I don't know if I can take another 45. So
that's right.
Yeah, I think we've done really well to sort of get to half-time for sure.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't long. It was about 7 minutes in the second half when they got a penalty. Robbo tripped Isaacson. At first, I thought, oh, that's nothing. That's not even in the box. It's a nothing. He's made the most of that. But when you see it in slow motion, there's no question it's a foul. I didn't think, and it looks like he's on the line. So I don't have any complaints about the pen. And that just brought them right back into it. And it was really squeaky bum time then, because you think there's a long way to go, and we didn't have any of the ball. We weren't looking good. We looked bereft of ideas. But what happened was it gave us a new lease of life. We knew that as it stood, we were going out, and we started to play a wee bit more. So it's actually probably one of the best things that happens us.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think that it's such a good point that when that's what worried me the most was obviously when Denmark then equalised, and obviously again with the 2-2 as well, it was like you can't stress enough the fact that that's all they needed. Denmark would have qualified, finished first with the point, and I think that was the terrifying thing. But you're absolutely spot on, Craig, is you're worried that, right, okay, what is the reaction going to be? And very, very soon after that equaliser, John McGinn with a brilliant sort of touch, which was right down beside me, goes and gets one of their players a second yellow. What did you make of that? Have you watched it back? Do you think it's quite harsh?
Soft.
Or
I did. I thought it was soft. I thought it was a foul, but I don't think it was a yellow card.
Yeah, agree. But McGinn played for it, right? And so McGinn was clever in what he did, right? I mean, I think McGinn sees him coming and he goes for it. you know.
And I don't want to not to exaggerate at all, but I really think that, I mean, that moment there is the difference between us going out and what ended up happening. I really think that not only from a tactical point of view, with what Clark then went to go and do in terms of bringing on more attacking players earlier on in the game, but also just the way that it actually transpired with obviously, well, as we'll get on to the winners. Yes. But I really do think that moment right there, the red card, is the difference between Scotland being in the playoffs and finishing top right now.
Yeah,
so
I agree.
It was funny that just before that red card, there was a stat come up on the TV, and it was that Scotland had 83 passes in the match so far, and they had 404. And I was just looking at it saying, "There's no way we can turn this around." Really? But then we get the red card shortly after that, and that's it was huge, absolutely
huge difference. Huge difference.
Now, before the red card, Clark was already warming up the subs. So he decided to go to a 4-4-2 before that.
Yeah.
What did you think about that? I was quite happy with it, but quite interested in what you guys thought about it. Did he go too early, or was that the right time?
No, I was pleased, and I think, you know, Craig. So we said in the last podcast, and you know, that one of our criticisms had been that Clark always went too late with substitutions.
Yeah.
We waited till a few minutes to go, and we've not got much right in terms of predicting scores and things in the last couple of podcasts, to be honest, right? But although I don't know how anybody could have predicted the Denmark game, but anyway, right? Sure. But we've not got a lot right. But one of the things we did say in the last one was that we thought that Clark would probably make, if we weren't winning, so it wasn't absolutely going for us, Clark would make substitutions earlier and bring on extra attackers earlier, and that's what he did. So, you know, so it's what we thought would happen and actually what we wanted to happen. So we can't complain, right? I mean, he did what we were calling for.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
So 70th minute, Tierney comes on for Hickey, and I thought he was absolutely outstanding. I was a wee bit worried that was then the last sub we could make, and that was the 70th minute, and we'd at least 20 minutes to go. And I thought, if we get a knock here, somebody, Robbo's not been playing full 90 minutes, I thought we could be in a bit of trouble here if we do get a knock. But same as the last game, I think Clark pulled off a stroke of genius by bringing on Tierney. I thought Tierney was absolutely exceptional when he came on.
Yeah, without a doubt, and I mean, obviously we'll go on to chat about the winner, the famous winner. But I mean, that obviously comes, and the more you watch it back, you realise as well that obviously that goal comes from Tierney being playing out on the right there and cutting it back across him. You know, it goes without saying, if he's, you know, maybe subbed on for Robbo or put in a different position, he wouldn't have been there in that position to inevitably go on to score the winner, which is just, I could watch it back and never ever tire of it. It's amazing. But another wee thing that I wanted to sort of touch on is, I obviously said how important the red card was in the match, and obviously what happened in the end, but it must be said, we didn't look the best when it first went down to 10 men. Denmark were the ones that looked like they had the extra man. What did you think?
Yeah, great. I mean, Denmark are good. They are a good side, and we, somehow we were struggling to really press them, right, to really get on them. And I can't remember exactly what he said, but McGinn said something good after the game. Where did he not say he thought we were pretty rubbish or something like that?
Yeah.
It wasn't his famous tweet about a jobby of a performance or whatever, right? which I talked about last time, right? But he said something like that. He thought we were pretty rubbish, but he didn't care. And I think that's right. I mean, a lot of the game we were not that good. We let them play too much, And even when they were down to 10, it was. I mean, all of a sudden we were expecting, right, that's us. Now we're going to get the ball. We're going to go forward. And we didn't particularly. They still looked at least as good as us.
But that's not peculiar to this game, though, Dave. That's been the story of the whole campaign, isn't it?
It has, yeah.
But we keep on getting results.
Yeah, agreed.
It's so bizarre. So, the Shankland goal then, 78 minutes. It was, I don't know. It was a funny one watching it because. The Danes all just seemed to run out the way of the ball.
Yeah.
And, if Shankland hadn't hit it, it was going in anyway.
Yeah. Oh, without a doubt. And again, this is, I think, probably from where we were sat. Dave, you would have got an amazing view at it as well. But, I mean, you're exactly right, Craig. That was going straight in the back of the net, no matter if Shankland touches it or not. But I was confused. I was like, celebrating like mad,
Yeah.
but I was like, is there been a decision or is there something here?
Yeah.
Because I was a little bit like, it seems as if everyone's kind of left that, but I mean, again, not complaining, and you've got to say it's a great delivery, and like we're saying, Ferguson's either scoring from the corner or Shanklin puts it in the back of the net like he did. So
Yeah, but unless I'm misremembering, Craig, and I don't think I've watched this bit again, but there's about a 30 seconds after the ball goes in where the Danes are complaining,
Yeah.
right?
yeah,
And
yeah.
the ref is pointing to his ear, basically saying, "I'm listening for VAR," right?
Yeah.
And we were watching him, and I mean, maybe it's only 20 seconds, but I don't know. But it's a long time before eventually he points to the centre spot.
Yeah.
So we celebrated first, and then we all stopped because we thought maybe there's been a push. Because I think the Danes were arguing there'd been a push, right, at one of their defenders, which, I mean, at the match, it kind of made sense because it just seemed too easy, right, as you just said, right, for the ball to go in. So it made sense. Maybe there had been a push, but I don't think there was, from what I've. But anyway,
I know Schmeichel was complaining about Shankland. I think he was saying that Shankland was either pushing him or getting in his way.
Oh, okay.
He was being quite vocal about that, but it was absolutely nothing. He didn't do anything.
Yeah.
No,
but there was
no,
20 seconds at least where we were all waiting to see whether the ref was going to give the goal or not.
Yeah. And I think the only good thing with you can say with that slight delay is the fact that we got to then celebrate the goal twice, because
exactly.
I mean, VAR is, in terms of celebrations, it is a celebration killer, as you say, but there is that relief of them when you get it's a goal, you get that, like,
you do it again.
oh my God, it's the double celebration almost. So, I mean, that was incredible. And I don't know about you guys, but maybe I fell into the Scotland trap of then thinking that 2-1, that was it. That was going to be us. What did you think?
Yeah, absolutely. I thought that's probably going to be it. We'll have done it with them down to 10 men. Now surely we can see it out, right? But we couldn't because as you know,
In typical Scottish fashion, as we kept on saying in the last podcast, we never make it easy for ourselves, do we, Craig?
No, but you know what? Dorgu pops up 3-4 minutes later and scores for them. And again, I think that was a really good thing, because had he not scored then, we would have had our backs against the wall. They would have been pummeling us, and it could have been them that got a last-minute winner, or a last-minute equaliser, and left it too late for us. But the way that they got it straight away, we then went on the attack, and that was, as soon as it went to 2-2, that was the best spell of our game, without a doubt. We were absolutely all over them. We were pressing them like crazy from by kicks. It was just fantastic. What's his face? Ferguson was all over. Kenny McLean. It looked like he'd just come on the pitch. He was running and running, curling in balls. He was just absolutely fantastic. Robbo was great. Robbo linking up with Adams. Oh, it was absolutely brilliant. It was what you want, how you wanted them to play the whole campaign. And how they're capable of playing.
And I when we sort of said it there, but when Denmark then went to get the second, obviously bringing it back to 2-2 so late in the game, and as I sort of mentioned before, with them only needing a point, I turned round at one point and I said, "Gents," I went, "This is it. We're not doing it." I was like, "It's another typical Scottish heartbreak." I said, "I can't see it." And well, what ended up happening will be remembered in the memories of Scotland fans forever. How was that?
I think also you're just touching on something there, Craig. So, I mean, for the next few minutes after they equalised, I thought we might do it because it was like our best spell of the game, as you just said. And once it got a bit beyond 90 minutes, so like probably it was like 91 and a half, something like that, I was starting to think, and I said to one of our group, I said, "We're not going to do it. It just doesn't feel like we're going to do it now." I don't know, it felt like we just gone a touchdown or something, or that Denmark had weathered the storm. I don't quite know. It's hard to analyse properly. But anyway, and then all of a sudden, Tierney scores. And, unbelievable.
You're saying that David had been down. It was just before he scored. So again, I was watching the telly. You could actually hear individual voices in the crowd. It was that quiet, and I think everyone was dejected. Never thought, well, that's it. We've blown it. We had a chance. But then, I don't know if I've heard Hampden roar as much as that.
No.
And that goal went in. And again, what a goal.
I mean, it's just the stuff of absolute legend, isn't it? And I mean, as I sort of said there, the way that he just comes in from the right, bang, and the confidence as well, that late in the game to just Oh, and I must say as well, the strike from McGinn just before it as
Yeah.
well. That I mean,
Yeah.
that was some strike as well,
Aye.
and I almost remember being like, "Oh, come on!"
Yeah.
And I think you were so right, Dave. That was the same feeling for me. Was when it got maybe once two or three of those chances, the balls coming in went past. That's when I was the same. When I went, no, I think we've just that's
Yeah.
it. We're down and out, and then Kieran Tierney comes and delivers that. It's just absolutely iconic, incredible stuff, incredible.
And that header as well. And then you had McGinn that curled it just past the post.
Aye.
And as you said, the McGinn shot that hit off Hanley. It was just like it's just not going to be our night. But that Tierney shot was, I mean, it was inch perfect. If you turn it an inch to the left,
Aye.
it hits the Danish defender. If it hits an inch to the right, Schmeichel gets it. It was just unbelievable.
Brilliant.
Stop him.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
And it's so brilliant. I know Clark said this, so I know it's not very interesting, but it is so brilliant that it was Tierney that scored it.
Yeah.
Because he's had such a tough time with all the injuries and everything. I think everybody sees him as a class player, but he's struggled to get a really good run. Primarily because of his injuries, but also because his main position is left back, which is where the captain also plays. Right. And so we've struggled. It's been a struggle for years to work out how to get Tierney into the team and everything. And you wonder if it's worth it because he might get injured again, even if you do work out a system. So the fact that it was him that did it is just brilliant.
Yeah.
No, completely agree. And I think the beautiful thing with it being Tierney as well is kind of just adding on to what you were saying there. But I feel like when Tierney and other sort of players were first coming through, I think there was that belief in the fan base of like these players, these can be the ones that the next generation that is actually going to carry us to glory. And the fact that as you said, with all the troubles and maybe it's not quite worked out in the sense of he started every single game for us and been there the full time, but the fact that that belief right at the start when he was coming through of like these are going to be the players that actually send us to glory, and then the reality is that that's exactly what's happened.
And he did it.
Yeah. Anyway, and then they obviously had a spell where they had a bit of possession but didn't really create anything with it. But what I absolutely loved, and we know what we're gearing towards here, was when they had the ball. It was the press from Robbo and Ferguson. Yeah. That stole the ball, and I thought that's great. They're not just hanging back. It could have been backs to the wall, part of the bus, but they were pressing and they were wanting to get the ball. They were so active. Ball fell for Kenny McLean. Unbelievable. I mean,
so just before we talk about Kenny McLean, I think I just want to emphasise what you just said, Craig, which is that we really pressed well in those, whatever it is, four minutes or whatever, from the Tierney goal until the McLean goal, right? We pressed really, really well. I actually didn't think Denmark were going to equalise.
Nah.
I mean, I'm lying if I say I wasn't worried at all, right? But I really didn't think they were going to, because they didn't look like it. They had the ball, but we were defending so well. We were pressing. When we did get the ball, we did the right thing. We didn't just hoof it up the park most of the time for it to come straight back. We were trying to take it to the corner, work it down the lines and stuff, take another minute. We had a couple of our guys falling over for a moment or two as well to slow things down, which I don't like, but the Danes had been doing it for 20 minutes or 25, so that's fine for me, right? So I think we were handling it really well. We were seeing out the game really well. In the way that you should do, and the way that better teams have done to us in the past, to be honest. So anyway, and now, sorry, Craig, and now back to Kenny McLean. Kenny McLean gets the ball, and
so I'm watching it on TV, and I can't see where Schmeichel is. And Stephen Thompson shouts, "Shoot!" I know.
It's just amazing.
It's brilliant.
It's amazing. The shoot, oh! And do you know? I think the amazing thing that I love, more than the goal itself, was seeing the countless amount of angles of it. I think it's because everyone in pubs across the country at this point were filming it, going, "Well, it's just broke. Come on, surely we're a minute over the time. That's the whistle. Try to get the reaction." And not only did they just get the reaction of Scotland winning it, but they got the fourth goal, and you just see the absolute bedlam that happened, not only in Hampden, but from every single pub and bar across the country. It was just incredible. And I mean, it goes without saying, what a goal. What a goal.
When you were in the stadium, could you see that it was on, that Schmeichel was quite far up the pitch?
Yeah, we could. I could anyway. Yeah. I thought he was going to slip it to Adams, right? Yeah. And I thought what I was expecting was he was going to slip it to Adams, and there was going to be a bit of a doubt about whether to go for goal or whether to go for the corner, which is what we'd gone for the corner, the left side, right? Yeah. A minute before, right? And so I thought probably he'll go at the corner. And we all remember Stuart Armstrong and all the rest against England.
Dave, I was just about to say that. I was just about to say that.
Right, so we were all shouting, "Take it to the corner!" Right? Yeah. But to your thing, Craig, we could certainly where I was, you could see that Schmeichel was way out. I'd noticed already he was way out, which made sense because they had to get a goal. It made sense. Nothing for them to lose, right? And so you could see it was on, but never in my wildest dreams did I think that Kenny McLean was going to do that.
Oh my God! Again, just to sort of bring it back to where I was sat in the stadium for it, or well, stood, should I say? This moment in particular felt like one of those magical cartoon moments where. Where it goes in slow motion and then the victory song comes on in your head as you just see the ball looping back down and into the net. It was just incredible. And I mean, on that note, I said that we would touch on it earlier. I think you've got to say Kenny McLean for all the stuff and the doubt that he's had, and even from myself and all of us at times throughout the time of doing this podcast, all of that to go and deliver a performance like that and then to score one of the most iconic goals in Scottish history to seal it for us. You've got to just say, I mean, thank you, Kenny. That was unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Even without that goal, he was my man of the match last night. He was relentless. He really was.
It's brilliant. And I mentioned to you earlier that by chance I ran into Kenny McLean in Glasgow this morning.
Oh yeah.
And I said to him, so obviously I congratulated him, and I said, I can't walk away without saying to you that I've watched Scotland for a long time, and I've seen some amazing things and had some amazing moments like Anfield in '77, which he looks blank at because, of course, he doesn't remember that, right? And everything, right? Understand, right? And so, but I said, I think honestly, and I'm thinking about it, you've given me my greatest ever sporting moment when that ball went in. Kenny McLean, that's the greatest moment. And he was laughing away. He's a lovely guy. He's a brilliant guy, like so many of them are. Probably they all are, I don't know. But but he's such a lovely guy. And he said it means a lot and all the rest. He said, people are saying that kind of thing. Thank you so much. And it's wonderful that you're saying that. That's really, it's nice. So it was great. But I really mean it. I think, because of the importance of that goal, right? And that I mean, that was it, right? So then we know we've done it. So this is the greatest game for Scotland, and I think that's the greatest moment where it's done.
Yeah.
And another this is quite an irrelevant point, but I loved it, and it added to that sort of just magnitude of the goal. I don't know if you've noticed it or if you noticed it, Dave, but before the final whistle had been blown and the goal was scored, the fireworks went off out at the top of the stadium, and I remember just being like, unbelievable. I love it. The fact that they were just like no holding back. And I mean, we spoke about Hampden earlier in the podcast, gents, and it was so incredibly loud that I don't know about you, but I did not hear that final whistle blown.
No.
It was unbelievable, and I mean,
I don't think ridiculous. But what I liked as well, though, Craig, is what you've just said. Okay, but the referee, I mean, he obviously did blow the final whistle. We didn't hear it, but from what I could see, I mean, so we weren't watching him because we were all going crazy, right?
Yeah.
But I suddenly realised the ref had just basically walked off.
Yeah,
he'd obviously thought, well, there's no point in restarting this now. They're all going mad, and it's overtime anyway. I think he must have. I mean, probably. Craig Walker, you can tell us, but probably blew the whistle as he walked off. But basically,
I was going to ask you guys when he blew it, because there was no sign of a whistle, and the clock was even still going in the corner. It was up to like 99 minutes.
Yeah,
one of the commentators goes, I think he's blown.
Yeah, I think the only time that we knew in the stadium was when the music in Hampden came on, because when that happens, the game's done. But for me, that was the first sign that when I heard the song, I was like, oh, it's done. It's done. I mean, as we said, we knew it was anyway, but I could not hear the final whistle.
I think when he looked over to that corner and saw they're pulling out the flags and stuff, the it's called the corner post.
The corner flag.
And just everyone's on there, and there was no point in carrying on. But the Danes were all walking back to the halfway line. They were ready to get started. So
yeah.
I honestly don't know any of it.
Well, I think he just, I mean, like when he was halfway off or just about at the touchline or whatever, I think that's when he blew the whistle. But I don't know, because when we didn't hear it all we basically saw, we realized it was finished for, I don't know exactly what it was. It was some combination of the referee walking off and the fireworks going off, and we said we've done it. We really have.
Amazing,
it.
Amazing. And well, all of that bedlam, all that chaos, the ups, the downs, the roller coasters, and we landed at the result that we wanted.
Yeah.
Scotland are going to the first World Cup in nearly 30 years, gents. How does it feel?
Unbelievable. Brilliant.
I can't believe it. I remember the podcast we had before the opening game. And I said, there's no way we're getting out of this group. There's no way. There's no way Steve Clarke in his we're just back from that was it the Finland performance.
Yeah.
There's no way we're getting out of this group. Yeah. With Clarke and we just can't seem to string a performance together. Mind you, we didn't have that many great performances, but we've done it. And as we said, Clarke went in trying to get 4 points from the first 2 games, and he did it, and that set us on the road.
We've had sets of moments rather than good performances, right? We've had spells. So like the last half hour at home to Greece was really good. Yeah. The last whatever amount of time away to Greece was also good when we staged the fight back. Some of quite a lot of the first game away to Denmark we were good in a defensive thing, and that was quite good. Belarus away was good. We did the job. That was all right. But having said that, it's the first 60 minutes against the Greeks, just about the whole of the home game against Belarus, right? Those 2 games at Hampden, and then whatever it was away in Piraeus on Saturday, which seems a lifetime ago now. But anyway, whatever time it was until we staged the comeback, another hour, I don't know, whatever it was, the first 60 minutes, we were, really poor. And quite a lot last night, we were, I don't want to say poor, but unimpressive anyway.
Yeah. And it's funny, the amount of people have said Belarus did us a favour.
Aye.
But Belarus didn't do us a favour because they've done one over in the Greeks as well. Yeah. I think we did ourselves a favour by not losing to them. They were a decent team.
Belarus obviously got better, right? The second half of the campaign, they probably should have got a draw against us, and they drew against the Danes and they drew against the Greeks in the last 3 games.
Yeah.
But I mean, I do still, if we have any listeners from Belarus, I would still like to say thank you. But regardless of that, but I mean, all of these, as we said, the ups, the downs, the poor performances at times, some of the missed chances, and then the highs that we've experienced throughout this campaign as well. I mean, it goes without saying, but it's now edged in history forever. We managed to do it, whether it was pretty, however it was done, we managed to do it, and we're going to the World Cup. Are you gents going to be travelling out for it then?
I will.
I don't know. I've got some family out in the States. It depends where it's going to be, where we end up, I think.
Do you just quickly? Do you guys know when the draw for
5th.
Location is? It the 5th of December, isn't
December,
it?
Yeah.
Amazing. Oh, I look forward to that.
That might. So maybe I'm getting this wrong. We need to check, right?
Oh.
So the draw is December the 5th, right? So after that, the groups, okay. I'm not certain and the order of the games, right?
Yeah.
You might know, and probably therefore the dates, but I'm not sure that the locations quite yet.
Yeah,
there was something, right? It's either the locations or the kickoff times or both, but we need to check, right?
Yeah.
Or somebody has to check, otherwise don't take our word for it, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's the nature of this. It's always horrible that probably not all the guys that have been in the squad are going to make the World Cup. We do have some fringe players that Lennon Miller will be looking to get in and probably push someone out. I know it's early doors, but is there anyone you think, any obvious players you think might not make it? I mean, Billy Gilmer maybe coming in for Ralston or
I mean, depends on the injury situation for one thing.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, it's hard to say, right? I mean, I think we've talked regularly about the forward line, right? And as we sit here now, you have to say you'd expect Adams, Dykes, and Shankland to be going.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about George Hurst. I'm not sure that he's done enough, to be honest. He'll have to prove himself a lot more in the next few months with Ipswich, I think.
Yeah.
And then some of the others, I suppose the players who just came in at the squad, who came in as replacements, right? So what was it, Conor Barron and the West Ham guy,
Andy Irving.
Exactly. Yeah. So I you have to say they're fringe players at the moment, so they might come in, they might not.
Yeah, McCrory as well. And I'm just wondering if you might see, because the goalkeepers aren't playing, I'm wondering if you might see a few move in the January window to try and get themselves into the squad, because Gunn's not getting he's nowhere near any game time. So if he moves and gets some first team football, that might put him as first choice. I can't see Gordon leaving Hearts, but he's not getting game time there. Kelly's obviously not getting any game time at Rangers, so it could be a move for them to. And same as Lennon Miller, he's not really getting any game time. Is he? And then you've got Robbie Ure as well, who's playing out in Sweden. They'll be finished, so he could maybe get a move in January as well to try and catch Clark. So it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, I mean, I think to answer your sorry, Dave. I think
to
answer your question about squad and changes, I think you're completely right, David. I think it's now we've got so fortunate enough to have 5 months really to basically see out the end of the season who's actually impressing, where they can go, oh, okay, right, well, they deserve to be in it. And then obviously it goes without saying with Scotland as well, injuries. So I think those two things are going to have a massive role to play. But obviously throughout the qualifying campaign, there's certain players that you just know of definitely got themselves on the flight out there. So I think that'll all depend on sort of performance mainly and injuries, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, agreed.
It was quite interesting that Clark said after the game that the way he built his squad, the way he decided to build his squad was to get guys with loads of caps and loads of experience.
Yeah.
And I think that would certainly explain why a lot of the times we were saying, why is he picking him? It's like the old pals act. He should be picking some younger guys that are performing a wee bit better. But he just wanted to get these guys, a huge amount of caps and experience. And it has worked. And if you look at the team, they have got, so many guys with loads of caps in there.
Yeah.
And it seems to have worked. He's got us through. Got us to 2 Euros. He's got us to a World Cup as well. You can't complain with that.
You can't complain at all. And he's done a lot of what, I mean, you and I at least, Craig, had said years back, and a few other people about, you look at countries like Northern Ireland especially, that was probably the best example, but sometimes with Wales, once Bale had retired, where you say, how come they're managing to do so well? Because they've got, worse players than us, Northern Ireland especially. But, they were often Northern Ireland were really overachieving. And a lot of it was because the manager was sticking with the same players, or most of the same players, giving them lots of experience, getting them used to playing together, getting them to try and be as much like a club team as he possibly could. And honestly, Clark's done a lot of that.
Yeah,
you've got to give Clark lots of credit. You really have.
100%. I completely agree.
Yeah. Right. Is there anything else we can talk about this game? I mean, it was just been the most incredible game of football. It's been the most incredible campaign, hasn't it? It's just been nuts.
The whole campaign's been nuts. Yeah, I think that's the thing.
Yeah.
Oh, right, almost maybe not the first 2 games, but ever since the first 2 games, it's just been crazy. It feels like we were about the third best footballing team in the group, which might be being hard on Belarus, but that's a joke, right? But it feels like we were the third best footballing team, right? And yet we've won the group, and our boy, they just kept delivering, right? And we had some luck along the way, but we got it, and the guys went up a gear at the right moment.
Yeah,
in enough games, they really did. So we've got to give them credit, as well as saying Denmark had 79% possession, all the rest, which always pisses me off when it feels like we're not pressing enough, and I criticise them and so on. But honestly, our guys then held firm, right? And then they rose up at the right moment. And the goal, the way we won yesterday was just unbelievable.
You can't write scripts like that. You genuinely can't. And I mean, I don't really think there's too much more that we can talk about it, but I will never, ever, ever tire of watching that game back. I think that it goes without saying that every single moment of that match is just instantly iconic. And yeah, we're going to a World Cup, gents. So I'm absolutely buzzing.
So, and I think then, and I think looking forward, then we should do another podcast around the draw, and we talk about when we do it and stuff. But once we understand better how it's going to work, we could do one a few days before maybe to talk about the draw and what we'd like and what we don't want and stuff, and then we can perhaps do one just afterwards. We'll see.
Yeah, for sure. Well, guys, tune in for that. All the listeners, you've got all that amazing stuff as well as the World Cup coverage to come up when we've got that. So yeah, absolutely buzzing. Craig, anything else you want to add?
Nah. Come back in a minute and wrap it up.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay.
And that wraps up one of my favourite episodes we're ever going to record of the podcast. Just incredible. You do not get nights like that. And you know what? For all the hard and low moments of supporting our beautiful nation, that is what it's built up to. We have finally got our iconic win at Hampden to send us to the World Cup. Just a quick one, a special little story from just before we won the game last night. One of you guys who listens came up to me and in the non-weird way possible showed me that he had his lucky ball bags on, and he believed, in his words not mine, that got us to the World Cup because they were his lucky ball bags. On that note, guys, we actually have one more voucher still to give away. If you want to get your hands on your very own pair of your lucky ball bags, what we want from you guys is to share your very best stories, analysis, pictures, anything from last night. It can be absolutely anything, and this can be on the YouTube or the X, whatever social you guys follows along on. Comment that on there and we'll pick out one lucky winner. Dave, Craig, thank you so much for joining us yet again. Again, Hazel couldn't join us on this one, but she'll hopefully be back for the next one. Guys, no Scotland, no party. We're gone to America.
Easy!
Here we go!
We know we ain't no football experts, but we all feel the same about the beautiful game. The game, no Scotland, no party, for the Tartan Army.